Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then hi, I'm Anusha. I'm currently doing my psychiatry core training in London. I make videos about IMG journey, about psychiatry training, and about bits and pieces of my life. In today's video, we're going to talk about PLAB2. I started a series called the PLAB series a couple of weeks back. I have so far made videos about the PLAB visa, about IELTS and OET, and about PLAB1. I'll leave down links of all those videos down in my description box. This is about PLAB2, so if you're new here and you want to get all your information about PLAB1, then you should go and check that out. I'm going to put the card up above here. And a couple of months back, I made a combined video about PLAB1 and PLAB2, which was pre the pandemic rules came out. I'll put that card up above over here as well, so you can go and check that out. It has most of the information without the pandemic bits and pieces added to it, which I'm going to talk about in this video. But yeah, it is a combined video, and if you want to check that out, you can check it out. And if you want to know about PLAB1 and you're waiting to give your PLAB1, apply for your PLAB1 and why you need to give it and everything, then you can check out the PLAB1 video. So yeah, so this one's about PLAB2, and without wasting any more time, let's get into the video. If you are watching this video, then you basically know what is PLAB, why you need to give PLAB, and how to apply your PLAB1. So this one's about PLAB2 and when should you be giving your PLAB2. You can only be giving your PLAB2 if you've cleared your PLAB1 exam and you still have a valid IELTS desired score certificate. The crucial bit to remember is that once you've passed your PLAB1, you have 3 years to clear your PLAB2. It earlier used to be 2 years, but because of the pandemic, they've extended that and they've made it 3 years. So within 3 years of you clearing your PLAB1, you need to clear your PLAB2. Also, what you need to remember is that you can only be applying for your PLAB2, like I mentioned, once you've cleared your PLAB1. So you cannot have given your PLAB1 exam, not have your results, and apply for PLAB2. You need to wait for your PLAB1 results to come out, and only then can you apply for PLAB2. Alright, so where can you apply for your PLAB2 exam? Again, GMC website is your best friend. GMC website and your GMC account is where you apply for your PLAB2 exam. They released a bunch of dates for 2021, and I think they're all been booked. In September 2021, they plan on releasing further more dates, and GMC has said that they'll put up a heads up notification or a notice on their website and also on their social media pages, so keep an eye on that. What I would also like to say is that a lot of times people cancel their PLAB exams, so randomly there are bookings that open up because someone has cancelled that date. So keep an eye anyway on your GMC account to book for your PLAB2 exam, even if fresh dates haven't been released, just because someone else can cancel it. Alright, so where can you sit for the exam? You can sit for the exam in only one place. There's only one center where you can be giving your PLAB2 exam, and that's Manchester. So GMC building in Manchester is where you would be giving your PLAB2 exam. You cannot be sitting for it anywhere else around the world or anywhere else in UK. Yeah, so it's Manchester. What exactly is the pattern of PLAB2 exam? So PLAB2 exam is an OSCE exam. So what exactly do I mean by an OSCE exam? So you will rotate through 18 stations which will have real life-like scenarios. So basically what happens on the day of the exam, or what do you expect? There is a whole scenario written outside the room before you walk in. There are 18 different rooms and you're rotated through those 18 rooms. So there's an entire clinical situation that's written, or an ethical situation that's written, or a practical situation that's written. So you need to be very, very vigilant and careful of what is asked of you. You wouldn't be marked if you do extra bits and pieces. Like if it's written that it's a station where you have to do a clinical procedure, like take ABG, or you have to do catheterization. So you walking into that station, you wouldn't be assessed if you are taking clinical history over there, because they are assessing you to do the procedure. But you need to remember that once you walk into the station, you need to introduce yourself, you talk to the patient, you take their consent if you're doing a procedure, you take the consent if you're doing an examination, you take history if that's what is expected of you. You need to be very mindful of the time, because it is not a real life scenario. It's an exam replicating a real life scenario, and you are on a time limit. So you need to be mindful of what is expected of you. If it's taking history, do that. If it is that you need to come up with a management plan, do that. There might be some scenarios where you would have to talk at the end of the whole scenario with the examiner. There is a bell that rings when you have last few minutes remaining, so you need to be mindful of that, because if you're expected to make a management plan, come up with a diagnosis, then that is your window period where you need to do that. In all of this, you cannot forget your interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills are so very crucial in your PLAB2 exam. You have to be very, very, very mindful of that. Just cannot forget that. Cannot be in a serious mode. Make sure that the actor who's pretending to be a patient, you make them feel comfortable. If you're in an ethical scenario where you're talking to your colleagues, so you need to be mindful of that. Have a friendly rapport with them. You cannot be, like bossing around or talking like a doctor to them. When you're talking to your colleague, you can have like this equation with them where where you're kind of friendly, introduce themselves with your first name. You don't have to be like, oh, hello, I'm Dr. Mishra and I need to talk to you or something. You know, like, be mindful of that. They need to see how easy flowing you are, but at the same time, remember that you're a doctor. It's not like they're testing your acting skills or something. They are not also testing the fact that how good a surgeon or how good a physician you are. They have tested your medical knowledge in the PLAB1 exam. This is more of your clinical skills and your interpersonal skills that they're testing. So be very mindful of that. You really need to remember that it is a completely different scenario to how it is done back home in India. And I'll keep making references to India because that's where I'm from. But you can't be scared because they are sitting there not to fail you but to pass you. So if you do everything right, and if you are going to make the actor feel okay, and if you do all the right bits, and if you're a good clinician and also remember your interpersonal skills, why would they fail you? So always remember that they're not sitting there to fail you. They're sitting there to just mark you and to pass you. Alright, so how are you scored in each station? So there are 3 categories in which the examiner is going to score you. That's data gathering skills. Basically, you know, you're taking clinical history and getting all the signs and symptoms and doing your the whole history performa that you have. So you do that. That's your data gathering skills. Then there's technical and assessment skills. So basically that would be bits like if you have to do an examination or if you're doing a procedure there, like it's catheterization or ABG or venipuncture. So yeah, that would be your technical and assessment skills. And your clinical management skills would be like, you know, where you are, if you have to come up with a diagnosis and you have to come with a management plan, what's the treatment plan. Always remember to do safety netting. Never ever forget that. The last bit is the most important and crucial bit, which is your interpersonal skills. So basically, you know, like your rapport with the patient, and if it's a tense situation, then how well are you going to handle it? If it's a breaking bad news station where you're, say, breaking bad news to someone that, you know, the family member has had stroke or has cancer, how much of empathy you have in that situation and how well you can manage a, you know, emotionally stressful situation for another person. So yeah, you'll be tested on all of this and would be marked in your interpersonal skills. So what exactly is the cost of the exam? So the cost of the exam as of April 2021 is £879. How to prepare for the exam? This is something a lot of you guys have been asking me, and I find this question very controversial because on one hand I do want to take names of academies, and on the other hand I don't want to feel like I'm advertising them. There are many academies in the UK and you can be picking any of them. It's not that one is better than the other because ultimately they're all just going to help you practice for the PLAB2 exam. People ask me if it's necessary, absolutely necessary to be joining an academy. From my experience, I would say yes, but then it's completely your choice. If you feel confident in yourself to be going for these exams without having an idea of what is expected of you, believe me, no matter what's written on the GMC website, you still need to practice. You still really don't know what it is because there are few buzzwords and keywords that the examiners want to listen. If you can do a crash course and if you can afford it, I would definitely recommend you do it. I did one in London. There is one in Manchester, actually more than few in London. It's up to you which one you want to take, because I don't know how it works in other courses, but the course that I took, they had a 14-day course where they would, you know, basically brief you on what kind of stations are expected of you, and after those 14 days you would have mocks. I would recommend you guys do those 14 days of the course and then do the mocks. Mocks are very, very crucial because, you know, you do 18 stations at a stretch and then you're given a feedback. The academy I did, they did record, you know, some of the people when they would do it, and they would play it in front of everyone, and then they would like pause it and pinpoint what are your mistakes. If you're someone who's very sensitive and cannot be taking that kind of feedback, then you shouldn't be going and doing these kind of courses. But I definitely needed someone to be, you know, a little bit harsh with me, though I did feel bad at that point, but then I knew that those were the right things. They were pointing out things like, you know, the posture I was sitting in, or, you know, if I was being confident in myself or not while I was introducing myself, and the right kind of questions I asked or not, and bits and pieces that if I missed out in the management, and, you know, if like, you know, coming across as a nervous person. So, you know, even you record yourself actually doing the whole station, then you can actually see how it looks like from a third person's perspective. I mean, I would recommend you do an academy. Currently, I don't know which one is better than the other or whatever. You can post it on the Facebook groups that I will leave links down below. There are so many doctors over there who are preparing, who have prepared, who have recently passed PLAB exams, and probably they will recommend you better which is better than the other. But I think that most of the academies are the same. Yeah, it's up to you which academy you want to choose, but I would definitely recommend you do the academy. Yeah, and another thing I would say is that when when you do your 2 weeks course and then you do, you know, your mocks for however long that they run, give yourself time after the mocks also to practice. I mean, that's what I am going to speak from my experience. So it's up to you if you want to take this advice or not. I would say that after the mocks, give yourself at least like a 2-week window to practice some more and then give the exam. It's quite an expensive exam, so you want to be 100% sure before you go and appear for it. Unless you're completely confident, then it's up to you, but you rather be safe than be sorry later. So yeah, this is just an advice. It's up to you if you want to take it or not. Alright, so how many attempts are allowed? Again, in PLAB2, you're allowed 4 attempts. If you fail the exam for the 4th time, that's fine. You can again appeal to GMC and give a 5th attempt. So how has the pandemic affected the PLAB2 exam? Alright, so like I mentioned, you can only be giving the PLAB2 exam in Manchester, UK. So obviously you have to travel to UK, and when you travel and come here, even if you're going to be giving an exam, you have to self-isolate for 10 days. And if you are traveling from one of those red list countries, then, you know, the banned travel list countries, then you have to quarantine in a quarantine hotel, or else if you are not traveling from any of the red list countries, then you self-isolate for 10 days. Also, you would need the usual pre-departure COVID testing, and once you land, you get your COVID testing and all that. All of those guidelines and rules must be there on the www.government.uk website for the whole travel things. But yeah, so those are the only bits and pieces that you need to do extra because of the pandemic. Alright, so we've reached to the end of this video. I hope you found this video informative and useful. If you did, then do give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, then please do. And if you have any further queries about PLAB2, then feel free to drop a comment down in the comment section below. And yeah, I hope you're keeping safe and looking after yourself and your loved ones. In the next episode of PLAB series, whenever that comes out, it's going to be about what happens after PLAB2 and GMC registration and gap years and questions like that. So I will be addressing that in my next video. So watch out for that one. And yeah, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.